Do hackers ask some version of not what does this do, but what can I get this to do?
Yeah. So the way I described that before in the book is just a simple way of thinking about the mindset of a hacker. Most people, if you get a new gadget like your phone and give it to your mom, she'll ask you, what does this do?
Hmm.
That's a totally normal question. iPhone, mom says on the box. If you give a new gadget to a hacker, then the question is, what can I make this do?
Yeah.
And they're starting from a completely different position. They're going to take out the screws, break it into a lot of pieces. You've met Sammy.
Yeah.
He's the poster child for this.
Could
He's
you-
violating the warranty before he got the shrink wrap off.
Cute, just
Yeah.
for entertainment value. People can listen to my conversation with Sammy Kamkar
Yeah,
to
do
hear
it.
about his amazing adventures and his crime and punishment involving MySpace, where
Oh,
he
yeah.
wasn't allowed to touch
Sammy is
computers
just-
for a while.
He's
But what
just the
did
most delightful hacker.
He's super delightful human. What did he do with Google Maps?
Oh, Google Maps is one of my favorite things he did. Early on, Sammy was finally allowed to use computers again. And he figured, Google colors the roads for traffic,
Sure.
based on where everybody's phone is just reporting to Google when you're stuck in traffic. And so Sammy figured out he could just lie to Google. He just sent a bunch of fake data to Google. And he figured out how to structure it so that he could make all the roads he's about to drive on just clear out. Because they look like they're all
Just
log
red
jams.
all the
they all
way.
look like traffic jams. And so Sammy could manipulate the traffic. I mean, Google's since fixed this, but I often like to show off Sammy on stage. And so
Yeah.
I've shown his exploits a bunch of times, and that's one of them.
What makes for a good hacker?
So I think the hackers have one way or another ended up being the people who start from that position I described. They're the ones who don't take the conventional wisdom of what something is for.
Masters of off-label use.
Yeah, off-label. And so they're creative in a sense. They are the people who figure out what is possible. You can't invent a new technology by reading the directions. And so that's just never happened.
Yeah.
Ever. So a hacker, I'm interested in their minds as inventors. I'm interested in their minds as creative people who are going to figure out how to elevate what humans can do. And so a good hacker is somebody who is willing to do that. And I learned a little bit about hackers because I was, like you sort of described, I was doing this bizarre kind of hacker magic show, stealing people's passwords. But some magicians, actual magicians, showed up in my audience one time. And they explained to me, hey, you kind of suck as a magician. And I'm like, yeah, you could probably tell me what I'm doing, what I should do. And what I realized is magicians, getting to know them, are like these people who will spend an obscene amount of time, more than anyone can imagine, focused on the most useless thing.
Yeah.
And they'll figure it out. They'll figure out something no one else could imagine ever figuring out. And that's part of how their capabilities, their tricks come together, the things they invent. You could say maybe what magicians are inventing is useless. And you could argue that a lot of what hackers are inventing is useless. It's like, why are you spending all of your time trying to figure out how to fuck with Google Maps? They're just going to fix that bug and then it'll be useless. But to Sammy, it's no problem at all. Like, that is what he wants to do with his time. And so I think a big part of it too is this, you could say as a class, maybe hackers have ADHD, but they can focus on what they're interested in. And when they get interested in a puzzle, they'll just go deep. And so you have to do that as well to get somewhere that no one's gotten before. And this is actually the reason I think I'm here is because I want you to know that you are the hacker.
Mhm.
You're like a very important hacker. And you don't think of yourself that way. But the reason is you are the one who showed people that what hackers are doing can be taken places that are not computers. And you did that with all the things in your books. That's what the tango thing is and the wrestling thing is and all those examples, swimming and all the things that you showed in your books.
Mhm.
That's the exact same thing hackers are doing. And you're showing them that it can go somewhere else. And that means a lot to me because I'm trying to get hackers to see that they could go somewhere else besides computers.
Right. Outside of software.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
That's a huge compliment coming from you. And it's also a very smooth segue because you mentioned two things that were of questionable value when you were a kid: computers,
Yeah.
and skateboards.
Yeah.
Rodney Mullen. Could you describe for
man.
people who Rodney Mullen is?
Oh, man. So Rodney Mullen, I don't have to describe for anyone who ever touched a skateboard, because Rodney is the godfather of street skating. He's the guy who invented every single thing you've ever seen a kid do on a skateboard. He's the first one to like ollie a skateboard, which is the fundamental basis of all street skating. I'm a shitty skateboarder, but Rodney is one of my favorite people on earth. He's such a delightful human, and we spend all night hanging out together talking about everything but skateboarding. But I've used him as an example of an inventor, again, because I'm trying to show people that an inventor is a valuable and important thing. Hackers are one source of inventor, but skateboarder is inventor. There's a difference between Rodney and every other skateboarder. And that difference is that Rodney will imagine something in his mind that's never been done before, may be impossible. He can spend months every night trying to make it happen on a skateboard and then finally get it.
Did he grow up in Santa Monica?
No, he grew up in rural Florida. So we have this kind of odd parallel childhood. I mean, Rodney is way more important than me, but Rodney's childhood was in rural Florida, no neighbors, like a farm. And he had a little patch of cement in the driveway. His entire skateboarding life started there. No one around him could skateboard.
Yeah.
He didn't have any influences. He just had his brain and the skateboard.
Yeah.
So he invented what was possible. And so I think that is so important. So it's kind of analogous to my Apple II and Alaska thing. But what's so cool about it is that once Rodney does a new trick, puts it on YouTube, 2 weeks later, kids in Kazakhstan are doing it better than him.
Yeah.
And so it's a very important contrast, I think, to show people the difference between what an inventor does the first time. The 0 to 1, that first time is incredibly hard. It takes lifetimes. It takes careers. It takes everything you've got to do something the first time that humans have never seen before. Every time after that, the second time to the nth time, that's craft. That is not invention. That's not art. That's craft. You know, you need a skill to do it. Rodney needed to be able to skate to invent, but I want people to understand how important inventors are. And we throw them under the bus. Like you don't know anybody, probably besides me, whose business card says inventor. It's not a legitimate career choice.
I only know one person, a guy named Stephen Key, who's just prolific in the toy world, but
okay, cool.
He's
one.
Literally the only one.
But how many music artists could you name?
Yeah.
Or painters.
100.
Or actors. I mean, and it's just the contrast is extreme. It's our most important creative class, inventor, and they don't count.
Yeah.
And I think we got to fix that.